Hey, good evening, everyone. And it's Saturday. We think this is one of those days we've gotten to in our life right now that we don't know what day of the week it is. And we do know what time of day it is. And it is time to start talking about RVing. And my name is John DePietro. It's a pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the New England RV Dealers Association. And let's welcome our co-host and the executive director of the New England RV Dealers Association, Mr. Bob Zagami. Bob, keep thinking it's Wednesday when we do these shows, but now we're doing them twice a week. You kind of forget what day of the week it is.
Well, and you couple that together with this staying at home stuff, and you don't even know what day of the week it is when you get out of bed in the morning. And I don't know about you, but it seems to be slowing down. It's almost like I just feel myself doing things slower. Maybe it's a softer pace. You're not hyped up with all the other stuff. So this will probably be a slow, casual show.
No. There's a lot to go. There's a lot going on. There's more going on now than ever before from the aspect of what we've got to talk about, because generally for the last couple of weeks we've talked about a scenario where Saturday night we were going to talk about what's going on with full-timers. And I've heard a couple very dangerous situations where our friends down south have told us that they've been getting some very dirty looks from people who, say, for example, they're in Florida, but they have New Jersey plates or Massachusetts plates or Michigan plates. When they see them in a Walmart or a Home Depot, they're kind of telling them, get out of town. And
there's a lot of that.
That's going to be a situation that's not good.
No, there's a lot of that stuff going around. I didn't print it out. I saw one just about 15 minutes ago. Somebody posted they were in a park. I think it was New Mexico. And the city, for some reason, decided that the park could only have 25% of their sites occupied. Well, it's in the Southwest. There's a lot of old people, a lot of people with health issues. So the park decided which of the 75% was to go. And they only gave them like 2 days to go. So some lawyer jumped on and said, just stay there till the eviction notice comes in. But it was the weirdest thing. I mean, how did they decide? Who decides who gets the 25%?
The lawyer said, stay there till the eviction notice comes in, or there's no air in your tires, and then you won't be able to go there anyway.
Yeah,
you never know it. You never know what can happen. And
what?
On the opposite side of the coin, talk about what's going on with our friends in the campground industry in the state of Vermont. They've been kind of given you can't open order until foliage season. Now,
I got an update. Let me recognize who we got. We got Frank Cates on early. Frank says, beware, some cities now have a curfew. City of Lynn has a curfew. This is Lynn, Mass. Has a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. starting at 4/12. This came over phone broadcast today, Saturday. I don't know how that affects travelers or how many other cities in Massachusetts are doing the same. I think it might just be for walking traffic, Frank, but be forewarned, he says. And Jerry plants in and he rattled our cage a little bit. He says, yay, audio. Well, yeah, Jerry, wait till we get to the videos and see if
we've got videos.
See if we figured out the videos.
Yeah, it's always a crapshoot trying to figure out whether or not our taped segments are going to work or not.
Right.
Bob, we're running about 50-50 on those, aren't we?
Yeah, Jerry says they got 13,000 signatures on a petition to close the Cape Cod bridges to non-residents.
Because
you're considered a resident, though, right?
Well, I'm considered a taxpayer because we pay taxes at our summer.
Well, I'd carry my tax bill with you then when you get out.
Well, we went down yesterday. We made it a point that yesterday was going to be a good day, and we left early in the morning. We got there, kind of turned around and came back. I didn't see any evidence of anyone, wanting to stop people at the bridges. There was.
I would hope the Mass State Police has. Yeah, I'd hope the Mass State Police has more important things. Audrey's on. Hello, Audrey.
Hello, Audrey. You went to Maine, and did you enter your facility? Were you able to gain entry to it, or did you not
Yeah. Oh yeah.
have time to get?
No, I can get in there all year. We just can't stay over. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, or ironic, I don't know, it could be funny. I thought it would have been cool, but this is the weekend where we generally do our first trip of the year. It's usually about August 6th or 7th, or not August, April. And for the first couple trips out, we go up to Maine. And, you know, a couple times we've ended up, since it was so cold, we had to, and the campgrounds aren't all open up there. You know, they open like in May. But
Right.
We've ended up staying in a Marriott hotel because it was too cold to stay in the motorhome. But even if we had gone to LL Bean last night and stayed there, I think we would have had about 4 or 5 inches of snow. My wife was going through the
They did get snow up there.
yeah, the directory, and there were some place like in Lewiston got 8 to 10 inches. We've gone up to Lewiston for the balloon festival.
Yeah. I noticed when I was up last week. Okay, Kevin Hiroki's on. Happy Easter to you and to your family, Kevin. And Diane or Martin or both of them are on from the Maine Good Sam. Hey, Martin, you got to get that title off there.
Yeah, right. Before you get a
season. This Maine Good Sam stuff. You already got a new club.
Yeah.
Let's get the new club going there.
Yeah, let's ask our friends in Maine.
Let me tell you though, when I was up at Maine last week, Ken's place, the great fried seafood place up there, he was supposed to open. He usually opens the April, the middle of April. He had a sign on said closed until further notice. So they never opened for their spring. And the Dairy Corner, our favorite ice cream place, wasn't open, and they usually open in April. So there's delayed openings all around. But as far as an update on Vermont, they did come out today with a ruling. They got so much kickback. Right now, they're out to May 17th. So in their minds, they may want the fall foliage season. We're early May. Wells, Maine come out with a real strong edict. They're closing all their campgrounds to May 15th, seasonals and everything in Wells, Maine. And even Congdon's Donuts up there, shut down. Not permanently, but their drive-through apparently wasn't working that well, so they've cut that down.
Yeah, and Mike's Clam Shack was right next door to that. I don't know what the story is there, but they're open. I think they're open 11 months of the year. They close like from mid-January to mid-February. Yeah, and that's the restaurants like the steakhouse across the street, that big steakhouse called The Steakhouse. Restaurants, even in tourist locations that are not really amenable to drive-through service or takeout service. Forget a steak. I still haven't seen a drive-through steakhouse yet. Although, while we were in, the first time I saw it's not Myrtle Beach. What's the other place? Outer Banks, 10, 12 years ago. They have the drive-through package store, where I think they call it the brew-through. Audrey Foley, I don't know if you've been down there or not, but
well, her motorhome won't fit through the drive-through.
No, but you drive through in a car, Bob. They're not that big.
Okay.
They're not that big.
Jerry says he had planned to do the Natchez Trace this April, but the broken windshield delayed that. Thank goodness. Is the windshield fixed yet, Jerry? You've had that for a while. Natchez Trace. Where's that? Is that Southwest New Mexico or Texas? Maybe Mississippi, I suppose. Audrey says, I have friends that own a campground in Wells and a niece that owns a breakfast place in Wells. This is going to be a rough year for them. Which breakfast place, Audrey? We've hit that's our thing up there. Every Saturday and Sunday morning we go to new breakfast. It's my job to pick out a new breakfast place. We have our favorites that we tend to go back to every once in a while, but it's my job to pick out a new breakfast place. So which breakfast place in Wells?
And while you're asking Audrey, I should tell you that he's asking you that for the reason that he's going to go in there and say, Audrey said you would come to us for breakfast.
Right. Don't you know who I am? Audrey said breakfast was on the house. Works every time.
Yeah, exactly.
She says, I've seen them, did not go through them when we were at OBX.
Outer Banks.
Okay.
Well, she did see that. That's the first place I saw Five Guys, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, one of the things that we want.
Let me just ask Kevin a question. If you can say, Kevin, I don't want you giving out company information or getting yourself in trouble, but do you have a schedule to go back into production at Cougar? And is it all of Keystone or Cougar, Montana? I know most. I know Airstream's going back. Well, most of them are going back. Grand Design's going back. The Winnebago facilities going back. So most of them are going back into production in May to have that come along, do that.
Mm.
Yep.
So, Bob, one of the things that we wanted to do, I talked to Chuck Lundberg not too long ago, and he said, you know what, do you guys ever solicit topics to talk about from your viewers? And I said, well, you know what, our whole show is basically topics from viewers, because we can come on here with no notes, although we are prepared tonight. We do have some videotapes and some interviews that we did earlier in the week. But folks, over on the in the comment section, just write down what you'd like to hear discussed, and if we don't know about it, we will basically fake like we do know. No, okay, we wouldn't do that. We would find an expert on the topic that you want us to talk about, and then do that in a subsequent show.
Because, well, maybe Chuck thinks he's the expert.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's got
maybe
that.
Being a little, maybe being a a little bit humble. But,
New Hampshire camping, and he sent those to other people as well. Right. Production will resume Monday. Okay, that's all.
If you guys don't know Chuck, he runs the Talk Camping New Hampshire Facebook page. All right, still no breakfast place from Audrey.
Oh, yeah, no. She did. It's called Brood Awakenings.
Wow.
Brood Awakenings.
I've never been there.
Well, I haven't. Audrey, tell us where it is on Route 1.
Yeah, whereabouts on Route 1?
Tell us, approximately.
Here's a couple of landmarks.
There she is. She gave us the Facebook, the link.
Okay.
Okay.
Collection on cougars in Montana's olive Thor. It will resume on Monday, May 4th. That's great. That's great news. All right, I'll check out the brutal. Give us a landmark though.
Okay.
And Todd Emerson from Longview RV. Posted
RVs for MDs. Todd,
I shared that already. No, I shared that already, Todd. But he did a nice post on RVs for MDs, and it's a great program for people that want to loan their RVs out to. I think that one is just. Correct me, Todd. I think that's just doctors, though, right? Does that apply to nurses and first responders? Or are they going to expand it at all? And I don't know. Did that start in Massachusetts or Connecticut? But it is a good program, and they did post it, and I shared it on the Facebook page.
And Bob, I think it's important to point out the other. There's at least 3 initiatives that your dealers have been involved with. I know the one from Lee's, where they gave an RV to the people at one of the hospitals in Boston, and I know there were 2 others. Do you recall what the other 2 were?
Hemlock Hill sold a trailer to a police officer who, out of his own pocket, was paying $300 a night for a hotel, so he could be close to his family. Longview has had a couple for utilities like gas and electric. Sherry Fuller's had units out for gas and electric. I would venture to say most of the dealers probably have something. It's funny you say that, because I did send a note out to the dealers, because I am working with RV Pro magazine that's going to do a feature in July of what dealers have done. So he's working through us to get 2 or 3 dealers from New England to get featured in there. So that'll be coming up. And I sent a note to all the dealers last night saying, if you're doing something in that arena, or you had lent an RV out, or made a special deal somewhere, or helping public utilities, then let me know.
They have 2 units that they're providing to Cooley Dickinson Hospital. I don't know if they gave them away or whether they're letting them utilize them during this time period. Because the key thing within the hospital is that there's really no safe area. Because I shouldn't say no safe area, but there's no area that doesn't have a lot of traffic. And if you can get these medical people out of that environment for a period of time,
you want something crazy. Dan Craffey got a wonderful letter from a nurse who I won't identify, who works at the Boston Healthcare for the Healthcare Center for the Homeless, which is connected to the Boston Medical Center, and they set up tents in the parking lot for the homeless people that they're trying to get off the street, especially if they're testing positive. So the motorhome actually serves as a break room for the doctors and nurses just to go out and get outside the building, get in or outside the tent, and go and have a cup of coffee or take a nap. He got a letter from one of the nurses this week who thanked him because, believe it or not, before they got the motorhome, and these nurses and doctors, they get the scrubs on all day. They're intermixing with people and patients. She was undressing in the parking lot, taking her scrubs off, and putting her in the parking lot of the area that hospital is in. You don't even want to be in the parking lot fully clothed. She was undressing in the parking lot to put on her clothes to go home. And she was so thankful that they donated this motorhome and that she could actually change her clothes in the motorhome before they go. That's decent. And I'm sure there's a million stories like that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one time that we have to realize the work that the quote unquote the blue collar people are doing is really appreciated. And by blue collar, I'm not talking about the doctors, although their work is certainly appreciated. But there has been some stereotyping about RVers, is that they're all blue collar people that are lacking in teeth and don't shave a lot, and et cetera. But I had Frank Palange, several conversations with him, who's a friend of the Caboses and the Coles, tell us that we got to stop looking down on people that don't have a PhD and a master's degree, et cetera. And when you look at the real heroes today, I mean, I say thank you to the kids that are running the cash register at, there's an old term, that are running the checkouts at the supermarkets. And you know what? They look back at me and they're shocked that I say thank you. And I think we need to be a little more aware of the fact that, even the guy who's driving the Coke truck and the Frito truck that's delivering that, those 50 different kinds of Fritos and Cheetos and Doritos, and the guys that are cutting meat in the back, and thank you to them in the food store.
It's not even that. Frank publishes all the time. Frank owns an auto body shop and does some incredible work out there. He's an Agawam, right?
Right.
He's an Agawam.
Yeah.
But it's any tradesman. Because the people who are getting laid off and who may be out of work for a while, they're the ones with the PhDs and the masters and what have you. When this country turns around, we get back to work. The plumbers and electricians and the carpenters are not going to have any trouble finding work. That's where the money is right now, and that's an area where we have to put kids in. It's the same thing when you go out to Indiana. I mean, every one of these manufacturers is having trouble finding electricians and plumbers and carpenters, because when you think about it, all the tradespeople that we use in building houses, we use in building RVs.
Yeah.
So they have to have people that understand that also. So exactly. Kids that can go into the trade schools are a valuable commodity. And this will in fact bring that to a higher light.
Yeah.
Doug says Doug got the right idea. He said, always try to be respectful to everyone. And,
right.
But that's
the fact that these kids, and even the adults, one of the guy that was working, I ran into the supermarket today to get a roast for tomorrow. And I said, hey, thank you guys for coming to work. And the guy goes, huh? Wow. Hey, thanks, man. Like that.
You waited until today to get did you run out of Chef Boyardee meatballs and spaghetti?
I did. There was a run on those. And, I tried, but there was a special. That's why they were buy one, get 20 free. Yeah.
Walter just joined. Good evening, Walter. And Walter, what were you doing with those paper doll cutout flowers today? Go down. I went to the store and bought real flowers for my wife. I think Donna deserves more. Did you see that stuff he posted? These silly little cardboard things, and he puts them all together, and they make a tulip and something else.
Yeah. And Walter's an engineer.
Cardboard flowers, Walter. Come on.
Well, Bob, they had something to do with the trip he's planning for 2024, where he's got every mile
to get ready for it.
Between Grafton, Mass, and Key West. Now, Bob, maybe this is a time that our folks here can write down any questions that they want for us. Maybe we should go to our first video with the Bickfords. If I'll introduce that while you get it ready to go. Here's a couple originally from Ashburnham, Massachusetts, that decided to Well, they had a cancer scare as well. And she said, let's get out of town because if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it at all. So let's go to that video. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Just a
I
minute.
think as soon as Bob pushes the right button.
Right. Just a minute.
As soon as Bob pushes the right button. But anyway,
No.
they had a very interesting story.
Talking.
They had to move in 2 days. They had like a couple hours notice when they were in Texas saying, you got to get out of here. And they had to hightail it across Louisiana, etc., to get to Texas, to get to Florida by 11 o'clock on a certain night. So they pretty much did it nonstop. And that might be all we hear because.
All right, we're going to hang in there, Susan. We'll get your, the Beach Bagel lady. Susan, remember we met her at the show. Hang in, Susan. We'll get to your comment. We're going to try an experiment. We had a little difficulty with videos last week. We practiced all week, so we're going to try to see if we can make this happen. So I'm going to put me on audio only, which will make me disappear. I'm going to make John disappear. And then I'm going to...
I have not disappeared.
Oh,
You hit the wrong one.
Shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an opening for a co-host.
What the hell?
If anybody.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll put that. Oh, you know why? Because on my tray, it's the same picture of you. That's why I look too.
I wear the same clothes all the time.
All right, you're going to go and...
We are talking with a couple of full-timers that are in the midst of this coronavirus situation. We're talking with Deb and Daniel Bickford, originally from Massachusetts, but now enjoying life in Florida. Welcome, guys. Okay. So when we talked with you last week briefly, you folks were in the great state of Texas when the road closures started happening, and you said, we got to get out of town and get to Florida. So tell us.
We don't move now. We're not moving.
Tell us what that plight was, because I know you had a timeline, a very strict timeline to follow. Tell us what that was like.
Well, we as full timers, you keep track of the weather and you keep track of traffic and anything that affects you. We had a reservation 6 months ago to go to Florida to come here.
Yeah, my mic is
however,
still live.
When we were in Texas, we had to get an extension because they were already doing shutdowns in Texas. We got an extension, but we couldn't get further extensions because for some reason
and we said that we had, they just waved us right through.
Just like that.
I thought for sure we were going to have to sign paperwork and keep quarantine and all that. No, very well.
Okay. And Deb, when you said that you got to Thousand Trails, that because you ran your vehicle all night without charging the battery in your tow vehicle, the battery was dead. And tell us about how you found somebody to help you out with that dead battery and what it says about the spirit of RVers.
Well, I a lot of times if you're on Facebook and on these groups, you can put out a plea. You'll see a lot of pleas for certain things. And so I put out a plea. I said my towed vehicle is dead. Does anybody have any jumper cables? And less than 5 minutes later, I got a yes. Then we told them we'd go pick it up, but they needed a walk because they were cooped up, and they walked over to us, kept their 6 feet distance, and they jumped for us, and we got it started.
No,
They were right in the same campground as you.
Same campground. What you do is you say, I'm in Thousand Trails, Orlando. I need
So,
a jump.
like,
My tow battery's dead. And that's all I said, and I immediately got a response.
when they
So you guys are hunkered down there. What was your original plan and how long you were going to stay there?
We were supposed to go to Disney,
Okay.
but they shut down. We were going to be here 3 weeks, and then we were going to go to a state park, but they closed. So we were in a quandary. And he's our logistic guy, so he can tell you the plans.
Okay. So Dan, are they going to allow you to extend there? Have you discussed that with the management?
Management was very good. Without even really doing anything, they extended us until May 1st, which is supposed to get us through this quarantine period. The Thousand Trails has been really good. I can't say enough about how well they have handled this coronavirus situation and how well they've treated us campers. And I was also able to make reservations at an Encore resort, which is tied in the Thousand Trails, for that time that we lost at the state park.
Okay. So you don't feel stranded at all. I mean, you're kind of taking it easy. You've got supermarkets that are still open to get stuff, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, we had already, before we left Texas, we had already shopped. So we have 3 to 4 weeks worth of food. We don't have to go out unless we run out of something specific.
Like jumper cables.
Like jumper cables.
Jumper cable, which you did replenish.
Yes.
Not necessarily replenish, but you did. You
acquired some.
Great. So we want to wish you the best in your travels over the next few weeks. Do you mind if we check in on you periodically to see how you're doing?
I don't know.
Okay, great. So we've talked to Deborah and Daniel Bickford, 2 Massachusetts natives that are now enjoying the full-timer life in sunny Florida. Thanks so much for the time, everybody. Okay, I think I can talk now. So, folks, I heard double on that audio. If you just write over on the right, did you hear double audio or was it fine? Because it was just, it gave me a headache. It was such a good interview. Susan, you think you heard double? Audrey, you said, Bob, your audio is in the background. Tell me what you guys heard, because we've been in constant contact all week long. Bob, you can kill that whole thing on the left.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it went.
Et cetera.
Yeah.
Everybody hearing? Yeah. Is everybody hearing background? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
You go back on and have your audio off. You just drop both of us down and then run the tape. That'll do it.
They said the sound went off when I shut my mic off. They said the sound went off. Did many of you experience a loss of sound during that video? Because the way the rules are, I'm supposed to leave my mic on, but when John told me there was an echo, I shut my mic off, and then I started having people send me notes saying there's no audio. So we'll keep working on that. One of these days we'll figure it out. Let's go back up here. Susan, we met at the Boston RV show, and she's our beach bagel lady up in Old Orchard Beach. She frequents there also, and kind of caught John with his RV in New England.
Bob, let's speak. In all honesty here, you didn't meet Susan.
Yes, I did.
met Susan.
No. Yes, you met Susan at the bagel shop.
You made a representation that you met Susan at the bagel shop.
No, I said I met Susan at the RV show and that you met her at the bagel shop.
Okay, so we have this tape. Luckily, we have this tape.
Right, we can replay this and figure that all out.
This is why the news is all misconstrued, because you misrepresent the fact that, in fact, you even said it was a sesame seed bagel when in fact it was a poppy seed bagel. In this type of discrepancy in the news, people are more divided than ever.
They don't have poppy seeds. They got everything bagels, and they got sesame bagels.
Good.
So So, but here's what I said. You met her at the bagel shop.
Yeah.
I met her at the RV show because when
Right.
she came to the RV show, no, what you're
She
missing.
came up to me at the RV show,
No.
and I
no,
introduced you to her.
No, that was no. She had a choice of finding you or finding me, and she found me.
Oh,
And then you came along down the hall, and I said, "Hey, John, this is Susan from the Beach Bagel."
Susan, help us out here.
And I'm sure Susan will validate that. She says, "We were so helpful to her, and you were so nice." No, she says, "You were so nice." She's talking about me.
Talking about me.
No, not about you. She says, "We were just about to buy a 2017 Airstream Classic, and I won't tell you, from Airstream Lebanon, when everything kind of hit the fan, looking forward to trying Dairy Corner." Well, I was up 2 weekends ago, last weekend, not this weekend, and they don't even have the sign up yet. And if you joined later, Ken's delayed their opening also because I thought I'd scoop a bucket of clams, and they did not open when they were scheduled to, and they just have a sign saying closed until further notice, until Maine figures out what they're doing up there.
Oh, she found Bob. Yeah, she found Bob only because I was probably being interviewed by a major national TV network.
Well, you must have been so busy. I was just screwing around doing nothing.
That was probably it.
Yeah,
I love you fighting over us. Good for the ego. So, Susan, you know what? Thank you so much for your kind words. We appreciate it. And Chris says, "Who cares?" And you know what Chris is upset with because we haven't talked about Chris yet. So
exactly what you would say.
Yeah, but you did bring up Chris earlier. We talked about a policeman, right?
Yeah, he did the trailer for the policeman who was paying $300 a night. But Chris, what are you hearing from your campground? Because Chris is an active camper, and he, like us, can't wait to get out there. But what are you hearing from Connecticut? Because I know they're closed. See, Susan says, "I found Bob."
I know. That's because you wrote to her offline when I wasn't looking.
I didn't even know until she walked up to me. You had already met her.
Because she.
I will have a cup of coffee with her at the bagel, and maybe we'll let you mirror better.
Well, we should tell this audience that this is probably the smartest audience in the country because they spend twice a week they come to watch us. But we did get a lot of comments in the last couple of RV shows that we've been at. "Hey, you guys, I watch you all the time." From, they were relatives that said it, but nevertheless, we're still recognition.
Chris says the Connecticut campground is closed until the 20th or
May 20th
of May. Wow.
Yeah.
See, my gut feeling is I don't think we're going to see campgrounds until June 1st. That's my concern. But hopefully our resort will open. Yeah.
The other thing that we have to be aware of with this whole thing with the campgrounds, as much as everybody misses it, but as long as when you put on the news and those positive rates keep going up and the death rates keep going up from the previous week. I mean, here in Massachusetts, they said originally April 7 through 17 would be the time that it would peak. Now we're already past April 7, and now they're moving it to the end of the month. So the numbers keep going up, and they keep moving the goalposts back. And by goalposts, I mean when a time when you can see it start going the other way.
Yeah, but
that hasn't happened yet.
That's not the measure that they're working with, though. It's really hospitalizations, people going in. So that curve has already started to go down. So obviously some of the people in the hospital are going to die. But the number of people being diagnosed, number of people going to the hospital, that's actually in many states, they've got a pretty serious decline. That's why they're starting to talk about opening up the country, because they're seeing that decline go down. New York still had 3 days of increases.
One of the things we can ask Chris this question, or we can ask Todd this question if Todd is still with us. People are taking their RVs out of hibernation, whether it's motorized, whether it's a travel trailer. And I know in our own individual case, I'd be using it right now. But how can people take advantage of this time where the RV is stuck in the yard to do some type of maintenance on it that they wouldn't normally do. Chris, what are the things that they should be taking some time with if they want to get their RV prepped? What are some of the major things that they should be doing? If you could tell us.
Yeah, you can jump in there too, Todd. While they type their answers there, Audrey says they've had all of their trips canceled before Memorial Day. I think she means something different. You could read that either way. One way you could say that she had every trip canceled for the year before Memorial Day, but I think what she means is all the trips before Memorial Day have been canceled.
Right. Everything that was in April and May, and Audrey is always a.
Are you reading her mind? That was a question for her. You may read it that way. You could read it either of two ways. I'm guessing she means they were closed.
All our trips that were scheduled to be happening before Memorial Day have been canceled.
It doesn't say schedule. Oh, unless you just added the second night. No, it says we've had all our trips canceled before Memorial Day. You can read that one of two ways.
Well, Audrey, help us out here. Don't say yes, because yes.
Right. Which one of us is wrong? Right.
Here's what I say. The way I read this is that all the trips that you had scheduled that you were going to physically be on before Memorial Day are canceled.
John, I said that 5 minutes ago. Guys,
folks. Okay. Now, finally, we're getting back to the topic. Go ahead, Chris.
Chris says, dewinterize spring freshwater system. Make it do what it's supposed to do when it's time to use. It's working. And schedule. And Chris, I assume you're taking appointments and you're still doing service, I think. So tell me if you're still doing service, if Jason's got his crew in there, and they should be able to call you up for an appointment next week. And, not that they get the appointment next week, but to get themselves in the queue to get their units in for service.
Okay. Walter brings up a very interesting point. I still can't figure out what Audrey says here.
No, Audrey, you just said the same thing twice.
I think Audrey, one of the things that I think Audrey has done, Bob, is taken her margarita machine out of her camper and been using it all day because she's writing very incoherently. Would you agree with that? Audrey, where is your...
All right, now she agrees, or she clarifies what we interpreted. Yeah, all this good trips. All right, Chris says yes, very much so. Get the calls in there.
Oh, Janine is here.
Janine just joined us. Hello, Janine.
From Pennsylvania.
We saw you on the Rolling on TV Go Power solar webinar on Wednesday of this week.
Hold on.
I'd say you had a cameo appearance, but you did a nice job talking about the girl campers and some of their questions.
Now, Walter has opened a can of worms here. Walter, and stocking up the new camper for renting later this year. Now,
he bought a second camper. He bought another camper for renting it out.
Another one?
You missed that? See, Walter, who pays attention to you, Walter? Remember that. Who pays attention to what you post, Walter? Because obviously Mr. DePietro didn't.
Okay, so let's ask this question now. Okay,
what?
Walter, you bought another one just for rental use? Is that it? Walter, did you buy one just for rental use, or are you going to rent out your own trailer? Okay, while he's thinking that out, let's ask our other members of our audience here. Would you rent out, assuming that we're not in this Corona thing anymore, and everybody's free to go where they want to go, okay? Would you rent out your trailer or motorhome to a stranger? Let's see some yes or no answers.
That's kind of that's not the question you should ask now, because every time you ask it, most people say no. What Walter did was he bought an investment trailer that he's going to rent through RV Share and Outdoorsy and create some revenue, and then have his kids be able to use it. And
Okay, so that's totally different.
No, then follow up with Chuck. Chuck
Okay.
is renting out 2 of his units now, and he says he's already lost the rentals, and he has no new rentals scheduled because everything he had scheduled has been canceled. Now that's interesting because unless Chuck, were all of those before Memorial Day or early June? Like Janine says, she would never rent my RV. Janine, I'll bet there isn't a woman in the girl camper community that would rent their RV. Mark Lebrecht, put a cot. This product gets a lot of attention. Mark says put a coat of F11 top coat on the motorhome. It looks awesome. Detailed wheels and tires. Time to purge the cabinets and outside storage. That product gets a lot of attention. I understand it's a little pricey, but a lot of the dealers use that.
And you know what? Mark brings up a good thing about purge the cabinets and outside storage. It is amazing. I'm sure that everybody would agree here. The amount of junk that you carry over from one season to another. So when you're really digging down to find something, you find a guidebook from 2013 or an owner's manual for a product that you don't own anymore. And Mark brings up a good point. Go through them now and get rid of all that junk in the underbelly of the unit.
Or
I know we filled ours.
Couple of campground maps that you left over from someplace you stayed 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so Walter says, no one uses my camper. So, again.
That's the big one, right?
Personal one.
That's the Cedar Creek fifth wheel. Right.
Okay. So really, there's 2 separate topics here, Bob. One is if you could buy another unit for whether it's a steal or whatever the case, would you want to get into the business of renting a camper and dealing with what Todd does? I don't know is Chris still renting? I don't know if Chris is still renting. Unlimited RV and the Fullers. Do you want to have that? Would you want to have that as a business opportunity for a revenue experience?
Well, that's why a lot of dealers don't rent. Mark says, hey, Chris, got to tell you, cleaning a 43-foot coach, I'm getting old. Mark, given the value of that 43-foot coach, and given that you just made a killing selling your dealership to Camping World, I would think you probably could afford somebody down there in Fort Myers to come out and clean your coach. Chris says, no, not renting. Absolutely.
Not renting.
Hemlock Hill is not renting. Well, there was one post we had, I saw it online, that they had a topic about RVs, the RVs for MDs, and, people should do this and what have you, and they should loan them to everybody under the sun that needs an RV. And some woman got on, and she had rented before. Man, she just went into a rant for about what looked like 2 pages. So yeah, it's something. So Chuck says, yes, we had several renters booked after New Year, but canceled since the pandemic. And usually this month we would be scheduling for most of the summer. No rental request at all this month. Kevin says Mark has enough to clean it for him. You're back home, and personal pride wants to take care of it himself.
He does have it.
How on that F111? I think you put it on and wipe it off. But how long would it take you to do the 43-foot motorhome?
Guess who just showed up 2 minutes early?
Oh, Jesus. After Kessler shows up at 7:44. After we went out of our way Wednesday night. He was the first one. He actually beat Frank Cates. He beat Jerry Plant. He was the first one online Wednesday night. And here he is on Saturday night at 7:44. You meant Eastern time. Yeah, attaboy, Rick.
Right. But the thing that we need to understand.
Kevin Hiroki, your Cougar and Montana rep. Your Cougar rep. For all those Cougars that they have up there now. Of course, the person that owns the company now, Mark, purchased a lot more Cougars from Kevin than you did. But I'll let Kevin comment on that. But last time I was up there was significantly more Cougars on the lot than what you had. 4 hours lasted all season. Anybody else use that one? That F11? Yeah, this F11. You ought to try that on your coach, John.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, if you're doing nothing and you want to do another one, I have a 24-footer that you can practice on. Actually, if you haven't done yours to your advantage, to your total satisfaction, I'll bring ours over, and you can do that. And then I'll just put a sign on it saying detailing courtesy of Mark Lebrecht, multimillionaire. How many beers? Took me about 4 hours, lasted all season. Okay.
Yeah, we don't measure it.
Find out about this. You know, Bob, what we could do is you and I could just sit back and our guests can have side conversations for the rest.
Maybe next Saturday night we'll bring a couple of them on live, because that part of the system I know works. So we could bring 2 others and we could pretend we have 4 hosts.
Since the dog is already 3/4 in the picture, why don't you just lift the dog up and show people the white one?
That one?
The black one there too? Where's the black one?
The black one's over on the other side. He just minds his own. He minds his own business. He's getting old. He's 12 years old, but they're multi-crews. They're just all they live for is to sit in my lap or sleep at night. So they
if that doorbell rings, we'll know it. We'll know it.
If somebody delivers a package, yeah. So,
okay, so Chuck has a question. Are you RV dealers offering better deals right now? Is this a great time to buy a new RV? In other words, Mark, Chuck, I presume that you're saying that because of the slowdown in the business. And actually, let's ask Chris and let's ask Todd, because have the units that you ordered earlier in the year come in yet? Is your lot filled, or are you just holding off on bringing any new product in the last month? Let's ask our dealer friends that are watching.
Well, I'll jump in there, because I don't want to see the dealers just giving this stuff away. Everybody's being impacted by this crisis, and if you want that dealer to be around next year and the year after, then he's got to make a fair profit on the product, and he's also going to service you and support you. So don't go in there thinking that just because there was a crisis that every dealer in the world is going to give it away. Now, there are some that will do that, but they may not be around next year. They're already strapped financially in terms of payroll and picking up new products. So we want them to run their business profitably and make sure that they are there next year and the year after, and that they're there now to give you the kind of service that you have. You see, like Chris and Mark's Place in Camping World, they're open. Todd Emerson is open for service. They're delivering units. They're delivering it. It costs money to run a business, and a lot of people are seeing that. And that's why they've got these small business loan packages out. And we want to keep all these people in. I don't want to lose any dealers during this crisis. Lewis, let's see. Wow, Kevin says Mark Lebrecht purchased 500 Cougars from me during his tenure. He gets a pass. Well, his tenure was about 30 years or 40 years. So Lewis Barnes, Lewis.
We don't know who that is.
No, I think he was trying to share it with some of his friends.
Yeah. Chris, I'm sending all of mine back to Kevin.
No, you don't send them back to Kevin. Just send them back up to West Hatfield, Chris.
Yeah. And then Charlie, have you any RVs? Lewis, hey, I don't know who Lewis is, but I don't know where that stuff is coming from. Yeah. But Bob, let's talk in the future now. In the next few months, you and I were with Sherry Fuller yesterday, and she seems to get the feeling that based on the calls that they're getting, that as soon as this issue resolves itself, people are going to be ready to rock. I know everybody I talked to said, I'm sick of hanging around. I feel like a prisoner. Are you finding that with the other dealers that you've talked to?
Yeah. They're upbeat. They've got great inventory. Don't forget, a lot of these dealers brought in, I don't know who these clowns are, and I don't know how to get rid of them.
Yeah, I don't know who they are. No idea.
Well,
no idea. Forget it.
we'll block them out later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, they brought a lot of product in for shows where the shows were canceled, so they had inventory for the shows, and that's the one good thing. Everybody has really good inventory that's out there. Yep. So
anyway, Chris, any word that you want to say to people in New England that have bought from you in the past and might be looking to buy again? Is now the time to well, let me ask you this, Chris. Are trades going to be impacted with this situation for whatever reason? And secondly, Bob, we're going to have to try again on another time to get through. We've got two other great interviews that are sitting in the tray, and I still think the issue is that second microphone on for whatever reason. But then again, if the others couldn't hear it, I don't know how I could hear it and you couldn't. But that's our own.
It's funny because I didn't have it on here. Well, look, it's 7:51. Jim just finding people ready to rock, but crossing state lines means a 14-day quarantine. That's true in some states. Well, I think we'll end it quickly. End it tonight. It's 7:52. It's Passover. It's Easter. I'm sure you guys are all getting ready for the holidays, and then I want to get these creeps off of there and figure out how to block them. So, other than that, why don't you close it out, John?
Okay, folks, like Bob said, whatever your religious preference is, it's the time of year. You know, I heard some people say that, you know, by Easter, this thing was good. There was going to be another miracle on Good Friday or Easter Saturday or today or tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, regardless. But you know what? This is a time to value your family, especially those poor people that have dealt with a situation where they didn't have family nearby during their final moments. So let's end it on a positive note. This is going to be an awakening for everybody. We're all going to learn a lot from it. When we get through on the other side, everybody's going to be stronger. And Bob, final words from you, and let's go.
Yeah, let's enjoy a nice day tomorrow with the holiday, relax, and we'll come out of this strong. I hope we're all back in our normal businesses by the time we get around to June. I think we'll see some of them in May. So happy Easter. Keep thinking about camping, and we'll see you guys down the road.
See you guys.
Good night.